why do you say couples are an endangered species? What do you mean by that?
Okay, because I have this whole rant about it, but I'll make it a short rant. I was raised to believe that I would go to a very fancy ball wearing a very fancy ball gown, and a prince would come and find me and ride me off into the sunset on a white horse, and we would be happily ever after. And nothing in my education has ever taught me how to be happily ever after. I learned
Right.
algebra, geometry, earth science, foreign language, whatever, social studies, history. Nothing gave me the skill for the most important thing in my life, which is when I find the person that I love, not at a ball with a glass slipper, but actually when someone and I find each other, then what? Algebra doesn't cut it. Geometry doesn't cut it. I can speak French and a bit of Spanish, but I don't know how to keep saying I love you. And this is how to understand me. And this is how I understand you to be something called happily ever after. So I feel like it was a major setup. Like we were all, what Malcolm X used to say, we were all hoodwinked and bamboozled. Like we've been hoodwinked by Walt Disney and the American government, and it spread throughout the world. Everyone knows Cinderella.
Hmm.
Everyone, wherever I teach in the world, everybody knows this fairy tale. And we don't have any skills. Plus, we weren't supposed to talk about sex. And if we talk about sex, which is very important in relationships, sexual connection, sexual chemistry is super important. All we were taught was say no so you don't get a disease, say no so you don't get pregnant before marriage. And then all the diseases you could get. But there's a whole conversation to have with somebody about these are my desires, these are my boundaries, these are my fears. This could be my trauma response. This is my history. Like I teach people those conversations, and most of us don't talk about it. So and we also have this belief that if we do talk about it, it's going to take the spontaneity and the hotness out of it. So
Yeah.
we just sit back and tolerate really bad touch, really
Yeah.
bad sexual
Or
experiences.
wait. Yeah. And wait for the other person to change. So, and the reason why you say couples are going extinct or an endangered species are because without communication we can't survive. Is that the bottom line?
Well, yeah, without the communication about how to stay in love and
Mm-hmm.
keep it hot, keep it spicy, and also to have straight communication about our sexuality, we don't survive. Um, the statistics are alarming.
Mm-hmm.
50% or more of first marriages end in divorce. 64% of second marriages end in divorce, and a whopping 72% of third marriages end in divorce. So the question is, why bother to marry? Or if you don't get the skills that it takes to sustain coupledom, why, like,
Why
why,
bother?
why bother and why settle for something so subpar when we could have
Mm-hmm.
something so fabulous with each other?